Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Pots and Petals here, everything garden and allotment related. We have got a bit of a miserable day today with quite a high chance of rain throughout the day, so I have popped down just to see what jobs we can get done before the rain comes, and one of them involves a little project involving the barbecue over there. So let me take you over there and tell you what I'm going to do. Down here we have got the Rusty BBQ. It used to be over in that corner over there. Now I can't quite choose where I want to place this yet, but it has got wheels, so it should be able to move around fine, and it's not too big in there, so it shouldn't be too heavy. The only problem that we have got with planting in here is that we haven't got any holes, so I've brought down my drill and drill bit. It is metal, so we've had to use the metal drill bits, and we're going to drill some holes in the bottom just to allow some drainage in there, because I know that the house leeks that I'm going to use and some of the alpines really do not like a soggy soil. So I'll take you through some of the bits that I've bought today so that we can plant this all up and get it looking a bit pretty. This is my sempervivum and my alpine haul that I got today. The sempervivums are also known as house leeks, and they're these evergreen rosette succulent like plants here. They come in a range of colours from greens to reds, purples and even grey, and you can find that there are some varieties that grow this cobweb like structure on the outside with very fine white hair. Over the years you'll find that the house leeks will give off these tiny little baby plantlets on the outside. Now as these are given off, you can take them off and repot them around, but they will help just fill in some of the spaces, because every 2 to 3 years you will find that your house leek will produce a beautiful flower spike and then it will die, leaving a bare space. So that's why it gives off these little plantlets. Now house leeks do like a nice well-drained sunny spot, and they can deal with really cold temperatures and really strong winds, given that they're quite small plants. The only things that they do not like is a lot of shade and a real fertile soil. Same thing can be said for the alpines. It says it all in the name. So alpine plants are found in mountains such as the Alps, and they actually came to fame back in the Victorian times. So you found a lot of Victorians got into mountaineering, and they found these beautiful little plants up in these high mountains, and they brought them back. Given that their natural habitat is high up in the mountains, they can deal with very little soil. So if you've got a wall, a stone wall where you need to fill in some gaps, alpine is a really good choice. And you find that they come in all sorts of colours and produce some really pretty dainty little flowers. If you are going for just alpines, it's very similar to the house leeks. They like a nice free drained soil, they do not like to be waterlogged, and they do like a nice sunny spot. This is the barbecue that we're going to be using. Now the sun comes from over here, right over the top, and sets over in the west over there. So that top might be causing a bit of shade, especially in the winter time. Right now I think it's fine because the sun is quite high up in the sky, but come winter it might be a little bit too much shade for these plants. So I'm going to start by taking that off. Drilled all the holes in at the bottom, and that should give plenty of drainage for this container, and I'm just going to fill the bottom now with some horticultural grit just to improve that drainage even more. So the bottom layer you would have seen is a lot larger stone, because that's going to be the drainage area, and there's going to be more air gaps in there for the water to escape to. And on top I've put a smaller grit, and that's just to stop some of the soil that we're going to be putting on top falling into those crevices, which over time would waterlog that soil. Next we need to add the compost. Now we're not just going to add compost solely on top of here, we're going to do a 50% compost and 50% horticultural grit just to keep that drainage going. I was a bit worried that given that the houseleeks are quite small plants, that it's going to be quite flat looking over here. So the plan is to use some pots to create a little bit of height. So I can put a big one in there and they will start to cascade down the side. And that is why I bought some of the alpines as well, just so that those flower spikes and those beautiful petals created a little bit more interest and a little bit more height as well. Those are the only two little pots I could find, but I have found some bricks and some old bits of pottery, so we can put them on top and just create some sort of nooks and crannies for them to grow in and out of. So yeah, they'll come in quite handy and make it a little bit more decorative on top. I'm going to add a layer of the soil and the grit just to raise it up a little bit so that those pots are a little bit higher than just over the top of here. I want them a little bit more raised than that. We've got the exciting bit next, so we get to get the plants and have a little play around where we think they'd look best. So come on, let's go grab them. It's not often in your first arrangement that you're actually really happy with it, but I am happy with that process. So we're going to pop the alpines in along the back there. We've got two of the houseleeks, and then I'm going to pop a couple of more houseleeks in here so that they can start to spread. Don't jam them in too closely, the houseleeks, because you do want to give them enough room so that they can start to sort of mat out and produce a blanket of these plants. So I think I don't want to add any more because I want them to have enough space to start spreading around and producing more little pups. So I think I'm done, and I'm really pleased with how it looks, guys. So you might have noticed when I was planting those up, some of these were actually falling off the plants, but don't worry because these are baby little plants that you can actually pot up. So the best thing to do is actually let this sit for about a day just to harden the callus off here. So you want that to be a little bit hard so it doesn't rot off in the soil when you plant it up. But we're just going to use the same sort of compost mix, so 50% grit and a 50% compost, and we're just going to pop that in a little pot. So here's our potting mix, and all we're going to do is we're going to pop that long tail like looking thing into the soil, because that is going to start to give off lots of little rootlets, and it will start to root itself into your little potting mix, and hopefully soon enough you'll end up one just as big as the one back there. So if you do that with all your little pups, you'll end up with plenty of more plants. There's just one more thing that we need to do, and that is to add a top layer of grit, and that is just to stop some of the splashback when it rains, as that can rot away some of these plants. And there we have it, guys, the final product, our little alpine and houseleek barbecue planter. Now we've just got to wait for the alpines to take off and some of those houseleeks to start spreading, and it should start to look quite pretty. I know I said that these guys aren't a fan of being waterlogged, but with any planting, as soon as you've planted them, you give them a nice water into their new home, just so that it settles the soil around them. I might have gone a little bit overboard with the houseleeks and the alpines because I've still got all of these plants left, but I have got the top of the barbecue still, so I could drill some holes in there and do project number 2. But I've just got to find somewhere in the garden where it's going to get enough sunlight for these sort of plants to really thrive. I have got the spot just over there in that corner, and nothing much really goes on over there, and that does get plenty of sunlight. So if I can get that barbecue top on some form of stand, that could well work. So that's all we've got time for today, folks. Don't you just love how this new little project merges in with the pond area behind it? I really like that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed following along with the little project today. I think we're meant to get a little bit more nicer weather tomorrow. Well, less rain anyway, so I'll be down here. I do need to give the pond a real good clear out. As you can see, we've got quite a lot of weed in there, so we'll give that a clear out. I'll give you a little update inside the poly house, and we'll just see if we can get a few other little jobs done down here tomorrow. So I hope you've all had a really lovely week and enjoying the weekend, whatever the weather is, wherever you are. It's now starting to rain here, but I'll see you all guys again very soon. So take care. See you later. Bye bye.